check out this last verse, verse 25. We've already looked at it. It says, since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. And you hear Paul's emphasis here. Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. And Paul is writing to a community of Christians. He's writing to the Galatians. There's a number of different Galatian churches. And he's saying the third part of obeying the Spirit, of listening to the Spirit, is to live in community. And I'm still learning the importance of this one, because even though I'm surrendering my life to God, and even though I'm trying to discern His Spirit from other spirits, there are still times when I don't 100% feel like I'm following God. I don't 100% feel like God is with me. And I don't know if you guys have ever felt like this, but even if you're trying to live all in for God, sometimes it doesn't feel like the Holy Spirit is actually there. If you've ever heard of Mother Teresa, which I'm sure you've heard of Mother Teresa, but if you've heard of Mother Teresa, for 60 years, she worked in Calcutta, India, and said she didn't feel God's presence. If you've ever heard of John Wesley, this guy that started the Methodist Church, he kept in his journal time, like he would mark a mark. Days I feel, like completely in the Holy Spirit's presence. Days I moderately feel in the Holy Spirit's presence, and days when I don't feel it at all. And most of his journals were days when he didn't feel life in the Holy Spirit. And all I want to tell you is you can surrender to God and you can try and discern His spirits, but it's not up to us to compel God to speak to us. He speaks on His own terms. He leads us whenever He wants to lead us. And so there will still be times when you don't feel His presence 100%, but that doesn't mean you're not a Christian, and it doesn't mean you don't have His Spirit. It just means He's not manifesting Himself right then at that moment in your life. And this became aware to me, this became clear to me this summer. I think I've, probably about every other sermon, I try and work in my daughter in some capacity. Take a look at my little girl. She is so stinking cute. Little Lucy, oh yeah. Man, Minnie for Halloween, she was giving out candy. She didn't go trick-or-treating. She was just giving out candy at the door. But a couple months ago, she and I, we went to Southland, and we're hanging out at Southland Christian Church, and this is right before the service is starting, and we're sort of she's just running after me, and I'll let her run into me, and I'll catch her, pick her up, and I'll put her down, and I'll take a step back, and she runs, and I catch her and put her up. And I think, you know what, this is kind of fun. I like watching her chase me. I'm just going to start sort of running backwards and let her da-da-da-da-da-da-da, just sort of running after me. And we did this for a minute or two. It was really fun. I'm just, running backwards. She's running towards me. And a thought suddenly occurred to me, and I stood straight up, and she hit my knees and fell down. But I stood up. She's resilient. It's nice having kids. Or it's nice having kid. I don't have kids yet. But she's so, so anyway, the thought occurred to me, and here's what occurred to me. This is exactly what God does to us when we don't feel His presence. We don't feel His presence, but it doesn't mean He's not there. It means He's running right in front of us, and He wants us to run to Him like that, to continue to trust in Him, to continue to run after Him, even though we don't necessarily feel Him in the moment. And the way you do that, when you feel like you aren't feeling the Holy Spirit, you live with other Christians, and you say, hey, show me the Spirit in your life. Let me see the Spirit in your life. When you come to Synergy on a night like tonight, and you're around other Christians who are living in the Spirit, then it's easier to keep running after God, even if you don't feel Him in the moment yourself. And so, that's the third one. First, surrender. Second, discern the spirits. Third, live in community, because that will keep you going even when you don't necessarily feel God.